and even you could take major losses when it
Hmm.
comes to high risk. And so just before we let you go, like even talk about that risk versus like loss factor. Like have you taken any major losses where not that you lost your pants or your home or your car or vehicle being repoed, but like even through the creative process, have you taken any major losses versus the risk factor of reward? Like, because we want to be realistic with some of our audience members. Talk about any of the losses that you may have taken and that you still had to persevere through in order to keep going and to get to this point of having your biggest project or film to this day being made.
So I've heard you ask other people this question. I've seen this question asked on other shows and stuff, and I've always looked at it and like that's a funny question, right? And I feel like it's a funny question because the most honest truth is everything you didn't get to see is a major loss. Money was invested in every single idea that we try, whether it's a big amount or a small amount. But in the moment that you make that investment, it's never a little bit of what you have. You know what I mean? Whenever you dive into a creative process or you dive into a project or you dive into something, you're not diving in and saying, all right, I'm going to take 5% of the money I have available and we're going to give it our best. You usually dive into it with like 90% of what you have available, 70% if you're pretty smart, and 50% of your genius. But even by that point, if it doesn't work, you just lost 50% of what you had available to you in the moment you started the project. So I can't I can never really point at anything that was super specifically a major loss because I've become very, very good at pivoting. I'm very flexible with how the ideas work as far as what it takes to get them to the finale, as long as the finale doesn't shift severely. So that's my answer to that. In my opinion, my most truthful answer is if you can imagine every script I've written that you haven't seen, or every song I wrote that you haven't seen, or every stage that there was a concert on that I wasn't performing, like those are all part of those major losses because there was time, energy, finances put into trying to get them.
Yeah, nah, that's being real. Like as you mentioned, those small amounts add up to the
They
large
add up.
quantities, especially when you are having to live by the budget. So we
Nope.
definitely appreciate you being candid and also being transparent even about that process. But tell people as we get ready to go into our last segment with final jewels, give people where they can support your project that you are currently on the press run for, and also tell people even a little bit about, do you have anything in the wins for next year or that may be coming up down the pipeline? Let people know how they can support you and also where they can see you going in the near future if they want to follow you and also see what projects you have coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we are talking about The Burden of Nine Lives, action thriller with a hint of romance that I think, based on the reviews we've gotten so far, they're even better than I imagined they were going to be. So we've been super excited this whole time about it. So you can definitely check that out right on Amazon Prime. Alongside that, a film that I wrote was directed by a good friend of mine, Cosmo Lasco, called Nico. Is also available on Amazon Prime, also getting really great reviews. So that's a action noir thriller. So they're both doing amazing right now. I think you guys will love them both and definitely check them out. If you want to stay in touch with me, you can follow me at What Up Vega on all social media. You can email me whatupvega@gmail. Whatupvega.com is my website. Head to theburdenofnine lives.com to learn all about this new exciting movie we've got. And for anybody who's interested in dabbling their feet in film investment, send a message over